Good evening. How are you? And welcome to the webinar for today. I know you all may have been looking forward to. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Thank you, Anne. Thank you. All right. So, good evening. I know you all were probably thinking that you're going to see Eric today. My name is Devonte. Eric had to handle a very urgent matter, and I'm going to be taking over for him for this evening. And hey, Michael, good to see you. Thank you for the thumbs up. And Debs, good to see you as well. But I'm going to be talking to you all today on this webinar on how to improve your communication skills and socialize better. So, first thing I want to do is just go over what is communication itself. So, I'm going to be reading from a book called New Slant on Life. Okay? Now, communication is the sending of one particle or information or anything from one place to another, with there being duplication or understanding at the other end of it. Okay? So you have Bob here who is talking to Sandy. He sends communication to her, and she understands what it is that he's talking about. Okay? And then she responds back to him. Okay? Now, that in itself is all that communication is. Nice to see you, Nat. And nice to see you, Robin. Thank you guys for being here. But that's all that there is to communication, right? But we want to know how to improve our communication skills. So there are some points when it comes to communication that are very needed. So we want to learn how to engage more and be more outgoing. We want to be a better listener. We want to get under the over the fact that we're nervous when talking to certain people, right? Give me a hand. Like, anybody ever get nervous when talking to people, or anybody find any difficulty with communicating to people or listening to what someone else has to say? Anybody have any problems with that? Let me just hear something here in the chat. Drop that in there. Just let me know your experience. Yeah? Okay, Debs, thank you. Could you tell me some things that occur? Like, what happens when you're trying to, engage with other people or listen to what they're saying? Drop that in there, because I'd love to hear and see what it is that you're really running up against, because then I can focus more, because communication is a very, very, very broad subject. There's a lot of things that one could get into when talking about communication. I have a lot of data on it. But for the time that we have, I want to make sure that I hit the points that we really. Okay, gotcha. Understood. Okay. So I want to make sure that I really hit the points that you want to have heard, that you want to have hit, okay? Because I want you to get the most out of the time that we have here, okay? So, all right. Well, thank you, Debs. Thank you. So, I'm going to read from this book, okay? Because we're going to really get into various parts of communication, right? So, if you would continue a strong and able communication with someone, okay? So, Bob wants to continue a strong and able communication with Sandy. He wants to keep this going, whether it be business or relational, whatever it may be. He wants to continue a strong communication with Sandy. There must be some basis of agreement. So, what is it that we're talking about? Now, you all are here on the communication webinar, right? Now, if I open the webinar and I started talking to you about dogs and how to train your dog, that's not a really good basis of agreement when you're here to learn about communication. Does that make sense? So we must have something called, I'll put this here, reality. Things must be real. In order for there to be a strong communication, we have to have reality, okay? We're not just randomly talking about random things. We have to know what it is that we're going to be communicating about so that we communicate about it. Like, we're not just drawing blanks and just randomly spouting random things. We have to have reality, and there has to be agreement amongst the two people that are there, okay? Now, thing is, if you want to continue a strong and able communication, like it says in the book, then in order to have reality, well, in order to have this agreement, you have to know what it is that's real to the other person, right? So if you are meeting a new person and you don't know what they like, you don't know what is real for them, you don't know what things that they're in agreement with, you don't know if they like football, you don't know if they like watching the telly, you don't know if they like going on trips, you don't know if they like being outside, you don't know if they even like their job. So we have to ask questions. So we have to be interested in the other person in which we're communicating to. We have to want them to understand what we're saying. Okay? So I'm going to continue reading. There must be some liking for the person, and then communication can exist. So we have two things here. We have two things that we need to have, right? We have to have reality, which is their agreement. We have to have some basis of agreement. If we start off the conversation talking about our job, that's the basis, that's the foundation of agreement, okay? Based on work. It can branch off into various different things, but the foundation of it is work. We may jump off and start talking about family. Now the foundation of it is family, okay? But we have to have some basis of agreement and some liking, some degree. It can be small. It doesn't matter how big it is. You have to have some degree of liking for the person that you're in communication with. So Bob, to some degree, has some liking. He has some emotional response to her. It may not be in a relationship type, I want to be with you type way. I could just like you as a friend. Like, I like the fact that you exist. I like the fact that you're here. I care about you, right? It doesn't have to be always he's interested in me or she's interested in me and she wants to create a family with me. No, it's not always that. Some degree of liking just means I could like you a little bit or I could like you a whole lot, okay? It's degrees of liking, right? But there has to be some form of liking, right? So you have to be interested in the individual that you're talking to. If you're not interested in the individual, you're not going to get a lot of communication going. And that's really when it gets to like somebody who works in sales, that'll be the biggest determiner of whether or not they get the sale. Are they actually communicating with the other person, or are they just trying to get a sale? Right? Do they actually care about how this individual is going to be using this product that they're trying to give to them? Or they just want to meet their quota, right? So, anybody else have any things? Because Debs, what we're going to do, I'm going to get into this a bit later, but I'm going to hit this subject, the suddenly losing your train of thought mid-conversation, and explaining why that could be happening, okay? And give you some data on why that is, all right? Now, just for you, Debs, so when you are communicating and you do get to a point to where you lose your train of thought, how are you feeling at that time? Like, are you feeling a bit nervous? Are you composed? Are you kind of like bouncing all over the place? What's happening when that occurs? Drop that in there. I'm going to continue reading from here, and I'm going to look at it after you send that message in the chat, okay? And anybody else, if you guys want to share anything that you struggle with in communication, please put it in there, and I'm going to hit that while we're talking, okay? While we're going through this, all right? So, we can see then that simple talking and writing randomly without knowledge of this reality and liking, I'm going to write liking down, okay? Nervous. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. So, liking. So, reality or agreement and liking. So, these are the two things that we need to have communication going. So, we can see then that simple talking and writing randomly without knowledge of this would not necessarily be communication. Now, just wave your hands or give me a thumbs up. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and you feel like they're not actually talking to you? Or you're talking to them and you feel like they're not even there? Give me a thumbs up if that's ever happened to you. You're talking to somebody and you see, all right, you feel like they're not listening, or they're not even here right now, or the person's not even talking to you. They're talking through you or something. All right. This is why that happens. This is why this actually happens. They're randomly talking. Like, you get a letter in the mail from somebody. Yeah. Very true. They do. They want to talk. They want to talk about themselves sometimes. Yeah, which is fine. You know, it's okay to want to talk about yourself. But when that becomes the entirety of the conversation, and I'm just sitting here, we're having dinner, and you're just talking about yourself, and you're not really engaging me or inviting me to jump in, then that becomes, we're not really communicating. I'm like going to the movies, and you're the movie, just watching you. Yeah. Now, communication is essentially something which is sent here and received. So it is something which is sent and which is received. The intention, meaning one wants to do something or someone wants something to happen. Okay? This is very, very important when it comes to communication, because we have to have intention. Intention. What is it that you want to happen with this conversation? Do you want there to be understanding to occur? Do you want this person to really duplicate what it is that you're saying? Do you want this person to walk off and say, hey, it's not for me? Do you want this person to say, wow, like, I really like how you delivered this? This is intention. Whatever your intention is, that is going to be the driving force behind the communication, because of the fact that you have this thing in mind, and that if it's good, if the intention is good, it's going to have a very positive effect. Okay? Now, this is for you to know, if your intention is good, it's going to have a positive effect. It's going to reach. Okay? If your intention is bad, it's not going to reach, and it's going to cause a lot of confusion. Okay? The person's not going to understand, and the person's not going to really be following. And if you're giving orders or directions or whatever, people are going to make mistakes. Okay? Or they're just going to walk away not feeling good. If it's not about orders or giving directions, you're just talking to somebody, right? So if you've ever walked away from a conversation and you felt weird, you felt bad, you don't know why you don't feel good about the conversation you just walked away from, the intention behind the other person was not good. The intention that they had was not good. They were not trying to help you. They were not being constructive to you. They were actually breaking you down. Because what happens with bad intention is you leave feeling bad. When somebody has that intention in a communication, you leave feeling bad. Okay? The intention to receive and the intention to receive must both be present in some degree. So, how many people, who all is here wanting to meet new people, wanting to engage with people? Show me a thumbs up. I want to see who all is here because they want to be able to engage with new people. All right, and all right, good. So, first things first. All right, Michael, good, great. So, first things first, if you want to engage with people, there's two intentions that have to be there. The intention to send a communication and the intention to receive a communication. You have to be open to both. You have to be open to send communication, and you have to be open to receive a communication from somebody else. Now, I say this because there are two big things that occur in life nowadays. This wasn't happening about 100 years ago because we didn't have the technology to do so. But there's two things that happen nowadays when it comes to communicating with other people. And one is this thing here, right? We got our cell phones and we are communicating with other people. Or we're communicating with apps, listening to music. So one is a cell phone. We're playing games, we're doing other stuff. We're out places. We're on a bus, we're in our phone. We're in a store, we're on our phone. We go to the coffee shop, we're on our phone. We see it everywhere. People walking down the street on the phone. That's it. Now, if you're on your phone, do you have the intention to receive a communication from somebody else? No? If you see someone else on their phone and there's someone that you're interested in talking to, does it look like they have the intention to receive a communication from you? And also, if you're on your phone, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Debs. No, it's not happening. And then also, if you're on your phone, you have no intention to send a communication to anybody around you because you don't know that anybody is around you. You're in your own little world in your phone. And look, I do it sometimes too. Sometimes I have to put it in my bag and be like, hey, look, I'm here. I'm out at the park. Like, we go to the parks with the kids sometimes, and you see parents on the phone. They can be sitting with other parents, and all the parents are just on their phone. And the kids are like, wee! And do you see that one dad, me, who's like playing with all the kids, like, rawr, rawr, chasing them all around. Like, it's I do that. But either way, like, my intention is to receive the communication. I have the intention to receive communication for my child because anything can happen. My child is just as wild as I am, and he has less social skills in social knowledge than me. So he just does random things with, unhinged. But I'm willing to, I have the intention to receive communication from him and anybody else that wants to communicate with me. So I'm there. I'm at the park. I'm not at the store. I'm not ordering food somewhere. I'm not doing other things. I'm there. And in order to be somewhere, in order to have the intention to receive a communication, you have to be in that place, right? And when I say in that place, and this is for what you said earlier, Debs, suddenly losing your train of thought mid-conversation and not being able to explain things. One thing that'll happen is when you're nervous, you're not actually in the space that you're actually in physically, mentally. Okay, so physically you're there, mentally you're not. Because what happens is, I'm going to erase Bob and Sandy. What happens is you have an individual they're there, but really they're in their own head. Now, give me a thumbs up if you ever find yourself thinking a lot while you're talking. Like you're thinking things, you're thinking about a lot of things, and you're communicating at the same time. Like you're trying to talk and think, and you're trying to do both things at the same time. Do you find yourself doing that? Yeah. Now the thing is, this is very, very it's not going to help you with your communication. I know this for a fact. The thing is, there's drills that the individual can do that can eliminate the fact that they are doing this. But the one thing that I can show you now to do is just be there. When you find yourself thinking about a lot of things, just say, hey, stop. Just stop. Just say, hey, stop. And look around. Look around. Look at things around you. Oh, there's a light here. There's a wall here. Oh, this person is right there in front of me. If you have to, make a pause and say, look at something on the person that they have and find something that you like about them, right? If they have an earring in, say, wow, I really like your earring. Be interested in them. Because the thing is, if you're really interested in them, you will not be interested in what's happening in your mind. The interest in what's happening up here in your head is out, okay? Be interested in them because they are not in your head. They're there in front of you. They're a real, live, actual individual right there in front of you, okay? So don't be interested in what's happening here. Put your intention on that person. Find something that you like about them. It could even be something that they're talking about. Wow, I really love that movie. Wow, like that's a really nice tie. Where did you get those shoes? Sometimes I could be walking and like I don't wear women's clothing, but I love the way some women's clothing looks. Like there's like boots that women wear, and I'm like, wow, those are really nice. I would never wear them, but they look really great. I like those boots. And I'll put my intention there. Like, hey, I really like your boots. And I'll make their day. I don't even know their name. I'm just like, hey, your boots are amazing. I will go out my way to let them know I like their boots. Okay? Why? Because I'm interested. So when you're interested in other people, what's happening up here, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be in your way. Okay? So that's going to help you with not losing your train of thought because you're not going to be getting nervous. Okay? Now, starting off, if you're practicing this with other people, yeah, you're going to you got to break through some barriers. Okay? But you can break through the barriers and you can get to a point to where you're not nervous, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there so that you can get to the point to where you're confident enough in putting your interest in other people and being interested in what they're saying and giving full intention for them to receive your communication and having the intention there to receive their communication. Okay? Now, the intention to send and the intention to receive must both be present in some degree before an actual communication can take place. Therefore, one would have conditions which appear to be communications which were not. Okay? So, you see this all the time in communications. You see this. This is something that occurs. Now, can someone give me an example of a time that they felt like that it seemed to be a communication occurring, but there was no communication occurring? Someone give me an example of that occurring, of that happening. Drop it in there. I'm going to read it out. And, I'll keep talking as you type, because I know that typing an example like this isn't like, it's not like 30 seconds, but, take the time you need. Type that example down, because I want to hear from you an example of a time where you've seen this occur, where it seemed to be okay. Gotcha. All right. Now, the thing is, Anna, when people keep talking and talking and talking and making their points, there's actually something quite powerful that an individual can do. That it falls itself under a technical application that we do. It's here with drills that we do. There's something that we have here called the communication course, and an individual has drills that they do, very specific things. But I'm going to tell you one of them, right? So one of them is an acknowledgement. Okay, so we have to listen. So we hear, we understand what they're saying, and we take what it is that they're stating, and we acknowledge it. Meaning that it's like saying, hey, I totally hear what you're saying. And I think that it's great, or it might not be great. Don't lie to them. You don't want to lie. So if it's not great, you say, hey, I totally understand what you're saying, but I think that's a really stupid idea. Like that's totally fine. If it's not a good idea that they're giving you, if it's something that just doesn't sound smart, or you can say, look, I totally understand that. How about we look at it this way? Or maybe we could do blah. So it's like they know that you understand them, so they don't have to talk about that anymore. Unless they have something set up in their own head that makes them feel like they have to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Because there are people like that. You can give them 1,000 acknowledgments and they won't shut up. Like they just keep talking. It's like if they stop talking, they may die. They have that in their head. They just think that if I don't talk, maybe nobody's going to care about what I have to say. So I have to keep talking, right? But for a normal person, regular person, when they communicate, if they're communicating their points over and over and over again, it's simply because of the fact that they don't feel like they've actually been heard. So the individual has to feel like they have truly been heard. And this is where acknowledgments come into play, which is what is covered on the communication course. The individual does the communication course, they learn how to be there. They learn how to listen. They learn how to acknowledge another person's communication. And then they also learn how to handle any originations that may have. And sometimes we ourselves have to repeat certain things that we say because they don't understand it. They don't duplicate what it is that we're speaking about. Therefore, we have to say it again in a new moment. Not like, oh, I told you already, I said blah. No, because that's how we create upsets. So if the person didn't get that you said, hey, could you go to the refrigerator and grab me a cup of lemonade? If they didn't come back with a cup of lemonade, don't get upset. Don't get angry. People make mistakes. Say, hey, excuse me, could you go to the refrigerator and get me a glass of lemonade, please? As if you never asked. We just give it to them again as if we never asked. No upset, No anger. There's nothing connected to it. It's just in that moment, give them the communication. All right? Now, I want to talk to you about confusion regarding communication, okay? And this is going to be a bit harsh, but know that I say this with love and care because I'm going to give you an antidote to this as well, okay? So here we have confusion is uncertainty, okay? How many ever feel uncertain when communicating with people? Give me a thumbs up if you ever feel uncertain when you're communicating with people or you're in social settings. There's this uncertainty that's there. Yeah? Okay. Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. So, confusion is uncertainty. Confusion is stupidity. Confusion is insecurity. When you think of uncertainty, stupidity, and insecurity, think of a confusion and you'll have it down packed. Okay? So, when we think about uncertainty, stupidity, insecurity, any of these feelings that you have, what you're really dealing with is a confusion. Okay? That's it. That's all that it is. It's just a confusion. Now, Devontae, how do we handle confusions? Well, it's quite simple, actually. In order to handle a confusion, we have to know, one, what is a confusion? And what is not? What is the opposite of confusion? Okay, so let's look at what then is certainty. If uncertainty equals a confusion, then what is certainty? If insecurity equals confusion, then what is security? If stupidity equals a confusion, then what is intelligence? Okay, so what then is certainty? Certainty is lack of confusion. What then is intelligence? Intelligence is the ability, meaning that one is able to do something. So intelligence is the ability to handle confusion. So this is a difference. It's not confusion. It's the ability to handle confusion. Have you ever seen a parent with more than one child looking over many children? And they have like a very set pattern in which they handle the children. They know, it seems like they know what all the children are doing without them actually having to have an eye on them. Johnny, get off that jungle gym like that. Hey, don't pick that in your mouth. Like, they're not even looking at the kids. They're like, hey, don't do this. Hey, stop doing that. Hey, get over here. One child gets out of their area of protection. They're just like, and the child comes back. It's communication, right? They're communicating with everybody there. They know what's happening. The intention is to send the communication, and they darn sure want them to receive it. Parents, hey, sometimes the parents don't even have to say it. They just snap their finger, hey, and the child stops and they freeze. They know what just got said without it even being said. This is how strong intention is, right? So intelligence is the ability to handle confusion. What then is security? What is security? Security is the ability to go through or around or bring order to confusion. Certainty, intelligence, and security are lack of or ability to handle confusion. So if we want to have certainty in how we communicate with other people, what do we need to first have? We need to have a knowledge of communication, okay? Basic components of communication, right? Now, that is knowledge, right? That is knowing. But here, it clearly states that intelligence is an ability to handle confusion. I can have knowledge of how to do something, but I may not have the ability to do that thing, right? I know people who have knowledge about cooking, but if you put them in a kitchen, they can't cook anything. They can tell you what to do, but they themselves have never done it. They may have watched a lot of YouTube videos, read a lot of books, but they never actually step foot in the kitchen to actually apply what it is that they have learned. Because it's a very big difference in knowing something and being able to tell other people about it, and then doing something, right? If you know, you have knowledge. If you do, you have ability. There are some people who are plumbers who never went to school. They learned off of firsthand experience, like looking at somebody else doing, and then they go and they copy what they did. Something, accidents happen, things may go, whatever. They learned, and then they got the ability to be able to be a plumber. And then they were able to put that into action and start making money off of it. Now, when it comes to communication, we have to put things in action. We have to get knowledge, put that knowledge in action, right? You came to a webinar. Good. You want knowledge. I'm presenting you with knowledge. Now, we have to put things in action. We have to practice getting intention. You have to practice having common agreement with somebody else, having reality, discovering people's reality. You have to practice developing a liking for people, being interested in other people, being able to get our intention out. We have to practice not being on our phone while we're out places so that people can give us communication. Right? Now, certainty, intelligence, and security are a lack of or ability to handle confusion. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Who has questions? Because I want to answer some of your questions. Because I have data that I can share with you, but I want to hear from you what you want to know. I'll give you a moment to type down any questions that you may have regarding communication, how one could improve communication. But when it comes to being nervous or anything like that, there's also another webinar that one could go to, because one doesn't just get nervous in communications in situations where they're communicating with people. One could definitely get nervous in terms of start a conversation with people who don't know well. Yes. So there's a thing that people call, when I was growing up, they called it icebreakers, right? Icebreakers don't really work. So the thing is, you want to find something that the individual likes. Like one thing that I'm very passionate about, and normally what that is like really putting yourself out there. If you talk about something that you're passionate about, that other person may be passionate about it. So you can ask, hey, do you like blah? I love Japanese, right? I'm learning to speak Japanese. I speak a little Japanese, right? And I'm connected with a lot of people that I never would have thought that I would have connected with. And I would not have had I not had that common reality with them about Japanese, right? There was a point in time where I would walk around, I would greet people in Japanese. I would say konnichiwa, right? Just walk around, konnichiwa, 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 konnichiwa. At that point, I didn't speak a lot of Japanese. I could say konnichiwa. I could say hello. Like konnichiwa is hello, for anybody who didn't know. So I would walk around and I would greet people. One day I greeted somebody and said, oh. And he said something in Japanese. And I was like, oh, wow, you actually speak Japanese. And then we started talking. Now, I told him I don't speak a lot of Japanese. But then, so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He was like, great. It's fine because I speak English too. And we connected. And, we stayed in calm. And the cool thing is our reality grew. Our affinity, our likingness for each other, it expanded. Because we didn't just stay on that subject, right? We had that basic form of agreement. So I'm going to just read this out to you one more time. So if you are to continue a strong and able communication with someone, there must be some basis of agreement. There must be some liking for the person, and then the communication can exist. So this is something that has to be there for the communication to exist initially, you have to have some basis of agreement, and you have to have some degree of liking for the person. So, and if you want to start conversation with someone you don't know very well, what is it that you like about that person? Like, what is it that you can comment on about that person that you could say, hey, the way you do blah, 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 I really enjoy that. How did you learn how to do this? Or where did you buy that from? Where did you get this from? That will be that's the basis of your agreement, right? That's the foundation that you have, and you just build on that foundation. So if you really like their shirt, if you really like their wallet, shoes that they have, hey, boom, you start up that conversation off of that, because they're wearing it, so they have to have some degree of interest in it. Like, they must like it to some degree because they have it on, right? I'm not going to be walking around with clothes that I don't like anywhere. Like, if I don't like it, I'm not going to wear it. Even if I just got on like a plain white t-shirt. I like this white t-shirt, whether it is that I saw it and I was like, oh, I need a white t-shirt. I like white t-shirts. It's nice. Buy it. Or I got it as a Christmas present. I got a pack of white t-shirts before. Hey, this was a gift. I got this for Christmas. Oh, wow, you celebrate Christmas? Yeah, I celebrate Christmas. Not everybody celebrates Christmas. So one thing is, we have to find something that we like about the individual, right? And we can't take things for granted. Like, sometimes we think that, oh, well, that's small, and they're not going to really want to talk about that. You'll be very surprised. Like, a person can have a backstory about a shirt that they got, right? I have a pair of pants that I got from a friend who really loved the pants, but they were like, hey, you should try these on one day. And I tried them on, and they were like, oh my gosh, like, you look amazing in these pants. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, I think that they're like, no. Like, you need to keep those pants. And I'm like, really? Like, you want me to keep these pants? These are your pants. These are your favorite pants. No, but I want you to have them because you look really good in those pants. Like, it was a girl. So, like, they were like those, like, swish, like, shh. I don't know what the name of the material is called, but it's like really like 70s type. It's like a whole outfit, bottom and the top. People used to wear it a lot. I don't know. But she's like, you need to keep those pants. It was like purple, gold, and blue. It was really nice. And I still have them now. But like, it's a really interesting story of how I got the pants. And I got the jacket as well to match. Like, she had both the pants and the jacket. But it's not women's clothing though. Just but, and did that help you? Like, is that good for you? Does that work for you? Having that basis of agreement and really finding something that you're interested in about that person. Awesome. Glad I could help. See, like, I want to help you reach and achieve what it is that you want. Now, does anybody else have any questions? Because I can dive into anything. I don't want to stray too far away from communication, but I can dive into anything regarding communication that could be helped. And then I also want to let you guys know, while we're in this question period, there's about to be a link that comes up. It tells you about this book here. This book is Scientology, New Slant on Life. There is a link here. You can click the link, find this book, and get this book. As you see, this book, I was reading directly from the book. The book has a lot more information in it that you can go over. And it's sectioned out very specific areas of life that one can have. Like, is it possible to be happy? You have mind, survival, work, and success, on the family, how to get along with others, honesty. A lot of things are covered in this book that just deal with life. And I'm just going to give you like a brief description of like what this means, a new slant on life. Slant, in this sense of the word, isn't just talking about something that's like shifted, right? It's talking about a new viewpoint. So one person can look at a mountain, they see the mountain, that's all they see. right? But another person can be looking at the same mountain in a different area, and they see something much more beautiful than what the other person sees. And that's because they're now looking at it from a different viewpoint. And that is what this book is for. It gives you a new viewpoint to look at life through. And if you see it and it works for you, boom, use it, apply it. But there is basic knowledge in here. Just like I read it straight from here, you got it straight from here. You can take this and you can apply this to your life. Okay? And the thing is, you have it with you. You'll have the book, so you can actually highlight it. Just like I put the little Post-it notes in here, highlight it. Any books that I have at my home have highlighter marks all in them, because if I need to flip through, I have it highlighted, and I have written down what next to it, why I highlighted it. What could I refer to it as? Okay? So click that link. There's a special offer that is on that link, and it's only going for up until, I think, 9 o'clock. So, or maybe 10. The link is active until 10 o'clock on that special offer that you see there. Click the link, see the special offer, and get the book. Okay? Just so that you have the knowledge that is inside the book when it comes to you handling your communication. Okay? Because I don't want you guys to get lost in the confusion of life when it comes to the subject of communication, or anything else for that matter. But right now we're talking about communication. I don't want anybody to have any problems with communication. I want people to be able to get their intentions across, be there, and actually communicate with other people. Okay? So if there are no more questions, hit that link, get that book. I love to hear from you about successes that you've had in applying the information that's in the book. But we're going to be closing out. There's no more questions. I want to thank you all for coming, and I hope that you really gained something out of this webinar today. And there is going to be a webinar tomorrow on the mind explained. So it's going to be explaining the mind. So Debs, if you're really interested in this, why the individual would get nervous, come to that tomorrow, because it's going to be going over the mind. And it's going to be explaining things about what happens, what actually is the cause of people getting nervous in situations. Why does that actually occur mentally? Okay? Because some people don't get nervous in situations. Some people do get nervous more than others, right? So come to the lecture tomorrow, or the webinar tomorrow, on the Mind Explained. If nobody has any more questions, thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you soon.